All right, might as well get started. My name is Kevin Gunn. I'm coordinator of digital scholarship at Catholic University of America Libraries. And today's workshop is going to be basic text analysis using AntConc. If you're not too familiar with programming, that's okay. This will get you started working on different corpora. So let us dive right in. So what I'm hoping to do, by the end of the tutorial, you'll learn some very basic skills, creating, downloading a corpus of text, conducting some keyword and context searching. You want to identify some patterns surrounding a particular word. I'll show you how to do that, and also how to use more specific search queries. And then we'll look at, very briefly, the statistically significant differences of words that you can search for between words and corpora and that. So very straightforward today. So what I would like you to do, I'm assuming that you've already downloaded and installed AntConc on your computer. So I sent out material to that effect. What I recommend that you do now is go to this URL. tinyurl.com/AntConc-files. I'll leave this up here for a little bit. And what we're going to do is it's a folder of various corpora and handouts that we're going to go along with our working in AntConc today. Okay, so we've got that. So you should be in this particular, there you go, I'm going to minimize that. So you should be in this particular page right here, folder. And let me go through, here's the presentation I was just giving. The last slide has a couple of websites where you can get a lot of different corpora and download, usually for free, not always. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be searching in there we go. We're going to be searching in the Brown corpora for today. I've given you two of the data sets, just to give you a sense of the ground corpus. Standard of it's standard American English that's been used since the early 60s, and I'm going to be using it today just to work through. It consists of about 500 texts, and each text is about 2,000 words. So it covers a number of different topics, everything from the press to religion down to fiction, different types of fiction, as well as some humor there. I've also put in here the Lancaster, Oslo, Bergen corpus as well, created by researchers at Lancaster, Oslo, and Bergen. Who knew? And they also have a similar sized data set that you can search as well. So that's just some of the background information. The other handout I have here is techniques in corpora searching. And you always hear about different concepts that are used. For example, frequency, collocation, that sort of thing. So this tells you how, what does that mean exactly? How often a word appears, does that mean anything if a word appears a number of times? What the concept of normalized frequency, if you're comparing two corpora, if 9 times the size of the spoken BNC. So, if a word appears so many times in one corpora and a much larger number of times in another corpora, is that significant, or does it depend on the corpora size, the corpus size that you're comparing? So normalized frequency, you can calculate between raw frequency divided by token number and the common base that you're using. So these are various topic concepts that you sort of have to sort of be familiar with going forward when you're using these particular documents. Collocation, how often do particular words show up together? So here's, telephone operator, it can tell it's kind of dated, right? Back or front, or tell and story, how often do these words sort of show up together as a pattern? You'll also notice there's a variation on that called collocation, and that is where you're comparing a particular word with a particular grammatical class. So it's just not one word to one word, but a class. So Mr. always seems to be followed, if it is at all, by a proper noun. So you see these sort of little relationships that maybe pop up here. You can also look at things that are very important. So discourse prosody, expresses the speaker's attitude. And we have a lot of research going on there about how people are saying things on Twitter, is that a positive thing? Is that negative? Is it neutral? That sort of thing. So discourse prosody is that concept. So if you look at, for example, a good one is cause, it collocates with unpleasant results, right? Problems, damage, death, disease, all this sort of stuff. You can cause an accident, cause anger, cause chaos, that sort of thing. All right. And the last one here is just keywords. You want to look at particular keywords and generate either keyword lists. You want to do a little bit of discourse analysis, what's about the aboutness of the text moving forward. And, you can study how keywords change over time. So the word misses, for example, has declined over time from 1931 to 2006. And you can use sampling points from various years in that as you see that. You'll also want to be aware of words that are locked. They are called locked words. Money is a locked word, so it's steady over time. And then thus, it's not really a keyword in doing the research there. So this is a very, very, very brief handout just to give you some of the ideas, the concepts moving forward. All right, so what do we have here? We have two data sets, the Brown plane and the Lob plane. We also have the lemmas and the stop words that we're going to use today. Now, what I need you to do very carefully so I need you to download these files and make sure that they are text files. So .txt. So download them to your desktop. And if you can put them in a folder, that's great. And I'll wait for you as you do that, all right? So I won't jump ahead right now. Okay. Now, is anyone having any problems with downloading the text, the .txt? You'll notice, I'm going to click on Brown plane here. You actually have two folders, if you will. The first one is untagged. That's the one that we're going to use today. And that's just the regular words that are in this particular corpora. The Brown corpus tag is very interesting. You can practice with your own time. What it is that all the words in the corpora have been tagged as parts of speech. So for example, if the word dog will be tags around it saying noun, for example. So that's a good way in working with your text, is that if you're having troubles finding the right words and all that, or if you want to look at particular parts of speech specifically, this is that one way that you can do it. So it is kind of time intensive to create such files and that, but it can be done. We're just going to be concentrating on the corpus untagged. So here they are, and as you notice, they're all TXT files here. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to AntConc. All right, so here we are. If you have not seen AntConc before, can you, if you don't see the page for AntConc, can you let me know? Either in the chat or somewhere else. Or just speak up. Oh, here we go. Yes, thank you, Kim, for sharing that. Much appreciated. There we go. All right, so I have up on my screen the AntConc search page here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through all the different tools that I have listed up here. So it can be quite involved, and I sort of figured one of the great reasons of having a workshop like this is just to sort of familiarize yourself with a lot of this. And I am recording, so you can always go back and check it later and if you need to. So, all right, so let's get started. So here's our beautiful page. All right, so we need to load up some files here. So let's go to File. And you can open up particular files, or you can open up the directory. I'm going to go to the directory. I'll save my stuff to the desktop. And I'm going to load the brown corpus untagged. There we go. And if it worked, you're going to find all the files listed on the left here. If I'm going too fast, please let me know, all right? Let's see. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to click on Start. No search term selected. Oh, wow. In that case, we have to select a word. So the word I'm going to select is report here. I'm going to type this in here. I'm going to look just for the word right now. And I'll keep the search window at 50. Okay, there we go. So you notice right now we have a concordance. We're on the page, the tool listing concordance. What does a concordance do? It just tells you how many times a particular word shows up in a particular corpora, or, a particular book, that sort of thing. If you're old school, you know, the books were published just based being concordances of the Bible and that sort of thing. So you have that. So you notice the word report right down the center here so you can see it. You'll notice also the colors that are listed here. So what's that all about? They actually refer to the references to the 2 right here and 3 right. So if you're looking at words more or less on the right, to the right of the word report, then this highlights it. That's all it is, instead of looking at black text all the time. And you can always change this by different going up or down or to the left for that matter. So that's a concordance. If you'll notice right across here at the top, we have File View. And we have nothing to represent. So let's do start again. Oh, excuse me. If you want to select all of them, it's kind of wonky. Sometimes it does all of them, sometimes it doesn't. So you have to be careful what you're searching. And there's other little quirks in here that I'm going to point out to you as well. So here's the file view for Brown A, the first one I selected. And you'll notice if I'm not interested in Brown A, it tells me here and how many hits for reporter in there. If I want to look at the next document, this gives me Brown B and it has this 14 here. So it's a good way you can isolate and take a look at particular words. If you click on this, you know, this is highlighted right here. And it'll take you to Concordance and you can have it take a look this way. So there's a little interactive interaction going on between these different tools listed here. Another thing you should notice, under the file view, it says hit location. So we have 27 file hits here, right? So we want to look at all of them, sort of get, you know, a quick view, larger view than the keyword in context, the quick. Under concordance, you have the keyword and context. So you can see some words before, some words after report. So if you want a broader picture of where report lands, you can take a look at that. If you want to see where the next instant is, you can go here and click on number 2. You'll see we'll scroll down through the list here. So kind of takes a little time to get used to that sort of quirk, but once you see it, it's kind of neat. All right. So if we go to the concordance, back to the concordance here, I mentioned the colors that point out words to that effect, sort of give you a good way to scroll through the list if you want to. If you want to expand the search window here, you can do that. You can go up to 100 and redo the search. This gives you much more context in that regard. So it's a very quick way. You can always go to the file, but this is another way that you can see how the word, the broader text, how the word is being used. So I mentioned clicking on that and it shows you a particular word that's being used, that's highlighted, and also how often the word report is around. You can see that highlighted in blue throughout. We go back to the concordance. You can also sort the report if you feel you need to do that. Excuse me. If that is something you need to do. There we go. So we've been just be using the word report. So if we can do reporting, we're looking for another word, we can do that. And we, again, will have a different number of concordant hits for reporting. And I'm just going to move this back down to 50. There we go, much better. And you'll notice you get a different result with the word reporting. Now, you may say, hey, we need some truncation. So I want to know not only about report and reporting, but I also want to know all the different variations of this word. So you can use asterisks for the truncation. And what asterisks will do, asterisk will do, is that it'll bring up reported, reporting, reporters, reported, all these different variations of that. So that can be very useful in your searching. Let's say you don't want all these particular words, you just want a report or reports to that effect. You can use a question mark. And what the question mark is, it's a stand-in for a particular character. So in this case, all we're going to do is get reports listed here. But I could also type in 3, and this will give me 3 spaces after report. So if I click on that again, I'm going to get reporting, reporters, reporters, that sort of thing. So a little quick variation that you can do with the different searching styles. Nothing terribly complicated, but useful to know. All right, so I'm going to take that out. I'm going to go back to rep, REP, and I'm going to do a word search. And you'll notice that rep comes up, all these different contexts. Most is representative. You also see high rep listed there, but it's treated as a separate word. The hyphen is ignored, so it's treated as a separate word, and that's why it shows up. Now, I want to get a little bit interesting. So if I deselect words and I redo the search, so what do we get? We get the 3 letters, REP, listed throughout here. So here's juice, prepare, fireplace. So it shows those 3 particular letters, wherever they may be. So that can be very useful too if you're looking for a specific string. It's just a bunch of letters together, but not necessarily a word. Then you can, that's one way you can do it. So if I were to redo the search, POR, I get, again, lots of words, 2,600 hits. Well, if I search by word, I get no hits. You see a little red button comes up here, says no hits. So very careful, be very careful what you select and what you don't have selected. My recommendation. It may be important for you to search by case as well. So you could do something by selecting case here. And what it's going to do, it's going to default to the lowercase. So if you do report with a capital R and redo it, then you're only going to get capital R with report. So very different way that you can do that. Now, this seems pretty straightforward. At this point, it certainly is. You have to be careful if you're selected words, if you selected case, that sort of thing. This has AntConc has a really great feature for regular expressions, and that's what this is here. So I'm going to select regular expressions. Notice it deselects words and case. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in a particular regular expression. So there you go. So if you haven't used regular expressions before, it looks like gobbledygook, but I can assure you it is very much something that does work. And you can really, the knowledge you acquire for regular expressions, the more you can do with your data sets, searching corpora, whatever. It's very useful, but it is time consuming to learn. And it's the deep end of the pool, I like to say. And I just wanted to demonstrate one little thing here that would be show you some of the possibilities. So what this is saying is I'm going to look for FOR. I'm going to look up to 20 spaces, and I'm going to look at letters, just A to Z, lowercase. And then whatever my phrase will end with the word, with the letters M-O-R-E. So for blah, 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 more. So I'm going to do that. We get one hit. You'll see here's the for, and here's all the letters, spaces, whatever, and then here's more. So for and more, and then whatever happened to land in between there. So there's just a simple demonstration of how you can use regular expressions to ferret out words and different phrases in that. So, any questions about that? All right. And one more feature that you should be aware of. I'm going to take that out. I'll just do the search for fun. So if you want to compare different searches, what you can do is do a search like I just did. You can clone the results, and then you can redo the search. And cloning the results is very useful in comparing two different searches. So you can go in, again, create two little sub corpora, if you will, save them, put them up here, get rid of the brown text, and then compare them in that way as well. So I won't demonstrate that, but that's definitely a feature that you can use. All right. So let's look at Concordance advanced features here. You'll notice down here we have the word advanced. I'm going to click on that, and that's going to bring us to advanced searches, and we can do some very interesting things up here. So if I want to use search terms from a list below, I can click this, and I can type in, report, reporting, and to report, and just look for those. Let's see what we get. Okay, so I say report and reporting. And that way, so we get slightly different results in getting this material. Now, one of the things you'll have to remember is that this is locked into advanced right now. So you cannot assume that this will be gone. So for example, what I'm going to do right now is up here in File. It says you can clear the tool, you can clear all tools, and you can clear all tools and files. So you may think clear all tools will clear that out, but it doesn't. It's still listed here. So you have to be very careful if you're loading up a new corpora or files or the same files, you want to do a different search, you're going to get really weird results. You're going to be puzzled and annoyed and frustrated, speaking from personal experience, where this is coming from. And then you realize, I'll just deselect that, apply, and go on with my life. So very important that you notice that this little quirk, it's supposed to deselect it, but it doesn't. So now let's say we had those particular words. Report, reporting, and to report. And we want to see, what sort of context words can we get out of that? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do said. I'm going to add that. This is a little thing that you have to do. You can't type it down here because it won't go anywhere. So you do have to put it in there. So I'm going to use the words said and say. So I'm going to be looking for report, reporting, and to report. And then I want to find out, find how close the words said and say are, what it looks like 5 to the left, 5 to the right. Let's find out what we can do here. We start up, and here we go. 4 times where we see report, right? Report, report said, report, right? So where's report? It's over here. The word said is over here, so brought it up. So within 5, and that's why I picked it up. A very quick way you can see context with different 2 words, how they relate together. All right. At this point, I should point out a few things with regarding our global setting. Right here, file, global setting, tool preferences, which we'll get to in a minute, and global settings. So some things to talk about here moving forward. You'll notice what you can use here. Anconc uses text files, so TXT. They're hoping to do PDF in the future, possibly other formats, but right now it's strictly TXT. The universal coding, if you will, is UTF-8. So you always, that is the default, but they also have a number of encodings that you can use here. So UTF-8 should handle most of it, but you can look at these different ISO encodings that are listed here. There's specific Japanese and Chinese ones and Korean. So start off, if you're working in languages other than English, definitely use the UTF-8. If you're getting weird results, then you may want to look at other encodings as well. You have the color settings here. You can use them for whatever. Excuse me. Okay, so you can use HTML and XML. XML is basically can be converted into TXT in that sense. HTML, I've never used HTML in this, so that's kind of interesting. Hopefully they'll expand to PDF from that. We have fonts listed here if that's, if you care about that. There are tags that you can use. You can see the TEI headers and start tags, all these sort of things, tags that you can use going through particular corpora. There's also these token definitions. I'm not going to bother with these right now, just want you to know that they exist and that you can use them. And then I used 2 wildcards here. I used the asterisk right here, and also the question mark. But you can use any of these others, and you can certainly change these to whatever you like. So I bring that to your attention. Oh, oops, here we go. All right. If you look under tool preferences, there you go. You can see how what the preferences are for each of the tools that are being used. So you can look at the display options that you have. You can have these different functions here. So if you're looking for sorting, or if you're hiding in search term, the quick display, these sorts of things that you can use, as well as how to delimit line break space, if that's what's going on. So if we were to do treat, case, and sort, apply that. See. There we go. Okay, what are we doing here? All right, so you notice I wasn't getting the result I wanted because I had this selected. So now I can do that. So always look at your advanced option if you're not getting the results you think you should be getting. All right, so we have words selected. You report with an asterisk. Treat, case, and sort. And there you have it. Okay. You can also search by characters instead of words. So I'll deselect treat case. So you'll notice that it pops up the different words. You'll also know the colors are represented, second right and third right, with the green and the purple. Okay, Kim, thank you for letting us know. So if I wanted to play with this, and then if I wanted to sort, I press sort, and this will give me what's listed here. A different way. So you can use the global settings. All right, so that is the concordance, and we spent quite a bit of time in it. Now we're going to move quickly along. We're going to go to the concordance plot up here, and what I'm going to do, so the concordance plot is useful for seeing the distribution of the results of a query through a corpus. So it gets you, if you're looking at a large corpus, you want, if words start showing up one particular section of it than another, then that's worth something that you may want to, something which you want to take a look at. So what I'm going to do is just do report. And that is not what I'm interested in. So what I'm going to do is going to clear all tools and files. I'm going to go up to file again. I'm going to load my directory. There we go. And I'm going to look up the word report again. All right, so I looked at the word, I deselected words, and now I'm just looking up this report as a phrase. And I notice I get some interesting results here. Tells us which files we have, A, B, G, and L in the Brown corpus. Nothing really stands out here, maybe this right here. So if I were to click on this, all right, so there we go. So we have the word reported listed here. And it can bounce me to concordance if I want. So I just want to strictly look at this particular text. There we go. So if I want to scroll through this, I can go like this. See where it pops up. All right. Let's do this. Go back here. going to reload my text again, my files again. There we go. I'm going to type reported this time. And what we get here is the plot, very dissimilar than what I've been getting. All right. All right, not exactly the results I'm getting, but we're still getting a concordance plot listed here. Okay, you'll notice down here, all right, there we go. That advanced button is going to kill me, I'm telling you. All right, so here we go. Much better results, what I was hoping for. You'll notice how the word reported is stretched throughout here. Maybe I don't want to look at file E. Maybe I want to look at file J. Let's see, what is J? J is learned 80 text. So that might be something worth looking at. File B is the press editorial, so that's a possibility. Click on that. You'll notice you get the word reported, but you also get the reported list here. So you can get a real quick sense where one particular word is and how often it's repeated and why it is. So it may be something of interest going forward. One last thing to show you in Concordance Plot is that it says plot zoom here. So if this is too small for you to look at, you can sort of branch that out and see, get a closer look at where the word can be popping up. All right. That is that. Our next one we're going to look at is the collocates listed here. This is the fun part, I like to call it. So what we're going to do is that, I've been loading all these files up, getting into the practice, the habit of doing that. I'm going to clear all the tools and files. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to load the first three files which deal with the press. So I'm going to go to that. I'm going to go open directory. Once more into here, untagged. Oops. My bad. You can go under here, file, under open files. So I'm going to select by control, then click on A, B, and C. There, I just have the first text, first three texts dealing with the press there. So if I want to be specific on that, I can do that. Next thing I'm going to do is make sure words is selected here. And I'm going to use the word report. I'm looking at the window span, 5 to the left and 5 to the right here. And we'll notice a thing here that we can sort. And we can sort by a number of these things: frequency, frequency to the left, to the right, Some basic statistics. We can do word, or we can even sort by word end if we wanted to. So first thing I'm going to do is just going to sort by frequency. Oops. We'll select A and sort by frequency. The first thing he's going to tell you is going to generate a word list. And now you have a word list. That's kind of important because up here it says word list, which we're going to be using. So here is what you have, some ready and available statistics to use. Okay, thank you, Michael, for coming in. Okay. All right, so here you have ranking. You have the frequency of the words, the frequency from the left to the right, and also this thing called statistic. So the first question is, well, what's statistic, right? So we'll get to that in a second. So what you want to look at, how you can go about sorting these different things. So if we were to look at, notice it sort of jumbles around. So if we did straight up sort, this is our word list. So we get frequency, rank, and then the frequency listed here. And these particular, not many interesting words here until we get down to present and detailed. So that's something we'll address in a minute. So if I want to look by statistic, I can look at this and it'll give me very different results coming up here. So what is the statistic that we're using here? Well, in order to find that out, you have to go up to Tool Preferences. Put this up here, and you have to go Collocates. And you have to look at your options here. So MI is sort of the default. So that's the strength of association. I'm sure there's an algorithm involved in that. You can use log likelihood. That's the goodness of a fit of a statistical model and the sample of that data. Here's your MI and the log likelihood. So the P factor being less than 0.05, always good. Then you have something like the T-score, which is the confidence in making an association. So you have these basic ways you can think about using them. So if I were to do T-score, all of a sudden I get very different numbers and the words as well. So something you have to play around with. And again, you have to know something about statistics moving forward. And that, again, not part of this course, all right? So we're looking at this and we can say, we can click on detailed. It's going to show us back to the concordance. It'll show us detailed. We're looking at report. So detailed report, detailed report. If we go back to collocates, as I said, it says the frequency was 3 times. 3. So detailed report twice and detailed report. So report mentioned 3 times and detail next to it. So that's another way that you can bring the words together using collocates. See if there's any associations listed there. That is that. So the next section, next tool you want to look at is clusters and Engrams. So I'm going to do this search again. Let's see what we get. Take report out. All right, so I did a quick search and I didn't get anything. And I realized I need to expand my cluster size. So I'm going to go up to 4. And my minimum frequency is going to be 10. And my minimum range is going to be 3. And I'm still not getting anything. Oh. Oh, so that is not it. And of course, if I'm going to look for Engrams, don't you think I should select the button Engrams? Yes, yes, I do. So here we go. Here you go. Isn't that wonderful? So we have the Engram size, right? We have the minimum 4 words, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and max of 4 words, and then the frequency of 10 and the minimum range of 3. So this is a different way that we can search for Engrams that we can designate. We can also look for clusters. So clusters are, repeated patterns of 2 or more words in your corpus. So I'm going to deselect Engrams. I'm going to keep words, and I'm going to do report. So I'm going to change these back to 2. And 1 for those. There you go. So again, I can't overemphasize what you select, you're eventually going to have to deselect. And clearing all your tools and files only works to a certain degree. All right, so what do we have here? We have rank, frequency, the range, and then the cluster of words with report. So usually 2 words and maximum of 2 words. So report, however, all this sort of thing. So that's another different way that you can look, and sorted by frequency. And again, if we tried the variation reported, again, different results in that regard. Now, if we were looking at probability down here, okay, oops. Right, we get an error saying you can't do this. So what you need to do is you have to go up to Tool Preferences, under Cluster Engrams, and so they're going to ask you this thing: transitional probability between first and other words. So okay, let's try that again. And there you go. So again, a nice little feature that you can use to find words going together. All right, so I'm going to go back to sort by frequency here. Here we go. All right, so that is clusters and Engrams. Now let's go to word lists. So here we have a word list. And I'm going to take this out here. I'm going to sort by frequency. And let's see what we get. So it goes through our corpus, and it gives us the frequency of the words and the particular words listed here. And you can tell in descending order. So it's a quick way to find that out, what words are common in there. You can sort by word. Alphabetical order. And you can even sort by word end. Like that. So that's kind of neat. If you go to tool preferences, if you do word list, you can treat all data as lowercase if you wanted to. You can also treat case and sort. So you can do all these wonderful things. Now, you can list, there's two kind of files that you can list in here. I mean, you can do number, but two of them you want to work with is a lemma list and a stop word list. Usually very common when you're looking at corpus linguistics. So what we'll do is we can load the lemma list right now. And I'm going to click this, load. And I'm going to go back. There's my lemmas list. And that tells you, here it is. So it basically says, you know, how do I want to treat words that have variations but of the same concept? So this helps in that regard. So I've loaded that up. I'll apply it. And what you get here is lemma types and then all the tokens that are listed here. And notice we're doing by word ending, so I'm going to just change that to word. So here it is, the lemma word form. So A is 4323, N is 677 times, abbreviated is once, abduction is once, ability is ability. So it goes through and it tells you, you know, how often and how is this particular word is represented in the text. So lemma lists are always very useful in taking a look at what you've got. All right, so if you want to sort by frequency, there you go, you're back to, excuse me, the words that are common, going through here, the word list range. But you know, a common problem is we don't really want to know what the or at or to or in these types of words. So we need a stop list to put in. So if we go up to total preferences and we do a word list, and here we can add particular words if we didn't want to. What we want, or if we want to search for particular words, we can do that. Here's a use a stop list below. So add words from file. So I'm going to open that up. I have my own list of stop words. And they list them all in here automatically. They just load right in. I apply. And now my results are much more interesting from here. So we've got all the particular words out. Now you can see some much more interesting links and the frequency of the particular words as well. So now we're getting into a very interesting part of the corpus. Okay, let's see. All right, so at this point, we're going to create a word list. So I'm going to empty all these out. Back to our first step. There we go. And first thing we'll do is going to do a start. So at this point, what we can do we can save an output to a text file. We'll call this brown word list. There we go. So now we have a word list of search. What we can do under the keyword list is that we can use a word list here. And you should be able to load the brown list text. So I have to do add file first. I don't see it listed here. Okay. There we go. Let's say we try that one again. And we'll add this file. Use word list, brown word list. It's now loaded. So you can use that word list to compare with what you have in the particular file. So our last thing we need to take a look at is keyword and keyness. So let me go up here. So you can create keyword lists. So you gotta know when is a word a keyword. So you can determine you still need to determine the threshold in order to say that you have a particular keyword. So minimum frequency threshold is set so you don't have to look at trivial words. So it's one way that you can do this. So we go to words, we're going to go to keyword list. And what we get running this particular corpus, keyword types listed, the keyword tokens, and then the ranking, the frequency, and the keyness, and the effect of these particular words. So I recommend taking a look at the handout that I gave you Also, AntConc has a tutorial where it describes much more detail about keyness and that. All right. So what I'm going to do is clear all these. I'm going to go to Tool Preferences. I'm going to use my reference corpus, and I'm going to use a word list here. And I'm going to load all my particular files. Take that out. Okay, so I'm going to add directory. It's very interesting. All right, so we will select all these. They're loaded. Let's apply it. Here we go. Let's see what we get. Well, that's very interesting. All right, so it's not loading properly here. But what you can generate from this when it's working is you get a list of keywords. And you will get, and you can sort through them. Let me see if I can do this. Report. Yeah. Oh, well. Oh, I know why. All right, so let's do that. So it's asking us to create a reference corpus, which we're trying to do, but it doesn't seem to be helping here. So, yeah. So normally it would load up and you would get a long list of words, and they'd all have keyness, as in statistical relevance about how the word is used in the data, in the particular data set. So that is essentially the presentation for today. As you can see, it does take quite a bit of time to practice and use, and it can be frustrating in parts and that. So there are a lot of tutorials out on the web that you can go to and look at. I definitely recommend Anthony's website. He has a lot of good information there and tutorials as well. So it does take a little bit of practice, working with your particular data set and that. So we do have a question in the chat here. So in Advanced tab, when we load file, can we load -combine multiple files? Yes, you can. Assuming right here is that there you can do open files. So you can select the ones. What I do is I select, I use Shift, and then if I just wanted to say A, let's see, A, H, and J, for example, files, I could do that, or I can load the entire directory. So in this case, let me clear this out. So if I have that, I can go in to open files, and I can go, I'm going to select A, I can select B, holding the control key down, and C. So select just the 3 of these, and they're loaded up there. There we go. So does anyone have any further questions? You can type them in the chat or just send it, unmute and ask me that way. Well, okay, everybody. Let me come back here. There we are. Seems we've lost a few people. Yeah, the workshop is an hour and a half, so to speak, but I can understand if people had to leave at 4 o'clock. So the recording will be available, and I'll send it out to everyone who sent me their email. So if you don't know my email, it is gunn, G-U-N-N, @coa.edu. So thank you very much, everyone, for coming out. And if you have any follow-up questions, reach out and contact me. We can work through something together if you like, okay? So thank you very much, and have a great day.